chewing sounds today, doing the same thing. Hopefully, maybe not as long as that video, a little bit more of a fun video. I have some gum, chewing on some gum right now, so for all you gum chewing fans out there, I got that for you. But in today's video, we're going to be talking about the worst number one overall picks in NBA history. Now, this is a ranking, but I mean, obviously, everyone has their own interpretations. I did find a list of, the worst number one overall picks in my last video when I did this. I did look at a list, but I did change some of them in their positions based off of my own sort of opinion on stuff, even though my opinion doesn't matter. This list, I'm just going to list them off as they are listed on this list, because I don't really have an opinion on, worst overall picks. I am going to say there are some players on this list that do not deserve to be on this list, obviously because of injury, opportunity, stuff like that, but there are some other players on this list where I really do think that they are, not very deserving of the number one overall pick. Also, this is not me saying, oh, this player's trash, oh, this player can't play basketball, this and that or the other. These players got A, drafted into the NBA, the top tier of basketball in the entire world on the planet, and B, these guys got drafted first overall. They did something right, so you can't say, oh, well, you can't say that player because he's trash, or wow, that player's so funny, It doesn't matter. These guys are still head and shoulders above me, and probably you watching this video as well, so no hate on any of these players I'm going to be ranking in this video, but yeah, if you guys, want me to do another one of these type of videos, writing videos, I know you guys really like those ones, let me know down in the comments, and also give this video a big like if you would also like to see more of these type of videos. I would love to do more of these. I did post a video yesterday, if you guys probably couldn't tell. I have been on a hot streak of uploading for many days now, and yesterday I posted a video talking about NBA trades, so if you're interested more in that, make sure to check out that video, subscribe to the channel. We are growing and growing and growing and growing very fastly, and I am very, very, very proud of us and you, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. So let's get started. I don't know, I'm gonna put maybe worst number one picks, maybe if I can fit all that on there. Let's see. This could be very scuffed, but if you guys know my channel, it's all very scuffed on this channel for a title. Worst number one picks. Yeah, that works. Not the worst I've done, but definitely not the best either. Okay, so we have the worst number one picks in the entire history of the NBA. So there's going to be some players you probably have never even heard of. I probably have never even heard of. There are some ones that have been more recently, and then we can also talk about some other players that maybe you think deserve to also be on this list as well. But we are going to start out with number 10. Last time I did this video, I really placed the number 10 kind of bad. Let's see if I can do a better job this time. That's also kind of bad, but hey, we'll take it. Definitely not the worst I've done. And at number 10 is a player with a very normal name. He goes by the name of Joe. Sorry, this pen is running out of ink. Seems like Joe Smith. I do not know why he's on this list, but let's have a little read about Joe Smith. It says here, Joe Smith had a long career, and it's debatable if he should be on this list, but he never could sustain the level that we would expect at a number one overall pick. Joe Smith played 21 seasons and averaged his entire career 10 points and 6 rebounds, and at his best he actually averaged 18 points and 8 rebounds. Wow. But it turns out he basically just became a nice bench player off the bench. Dang, that's gonna sucks. When Joe Smith looks back at his career, he would probably view it as a success given the length of his career and solid performances. Interesting, he doesn't really seem like he should be on this list, if I'm being honest. That's pretty crazy. He was drafted to the Golden State Warriors in 19 myself. We have a player by the name of Bill Mcgill. Bill. Oh my god, that name was so bad. I apologize. Wow. I-L. Bill McGill. Bill McGill. Bill McGill. Again, a player I have no idea who this is. But he was drafted, let's see, I think by a pretty old team, I'm going to assume if I've never heard of this player before, in 1962 to the Chicago Zephyrs. I think that's how you pronounce it, Zephyrs. Zephyrs. I think it's a very old Chicago, I think ABA team before the merger, I think. He was selected, obviously #1 overall. McGill's career never lived up to what the people thought it would have been, obviously being a star in Utah in a successful college career. Interesting. He ended up averaging only 10 points per game and less than 16 minutes per game as well. Wow. That's really bad. Before moving to the ABA, McGill averaged less than 5 points per game for more than half the season. Let's see, we have another one here from the Sacramento Kings in 1989, a more recent one. Let's see, get this up a little bit higher. And this player goes by, let's see, how do you spell this? Purvis. P-E-V, yeah, okay. Ellison, L-E-L-L-I-S-O-N, Ellison. Yeah, drafted in 1989 by the Sacramento Kings. Definitely does not surprise me. Obviously, Sacramento not always picking the best sort of selections. Drafted #1 overall by the Sacramento Kings in the 1989 draft. He only ended up playing 1 season with the team. Could you imagine a player getting drafted to a team and getting traded at the end of that year? That is so crazy. He averaged 8 points per game and saw improvement in Washington, but in his 11 NBA seasons, he only averaged 10 points per game in 3 years. So that's pretty bad. That's no, man. His career ran into some issues with injuries and earned the nickname out of service Purvis from Danny Ainge. Oh my god. That is a horrible nickname. That's a lot of teasing. I mean, if it's due to injury, and I'm going to say this again, if these picks are like okay or good or, oh, okay, that makes sense type of picks that are altered by injury, I wouldn't really count those. So if this was actually a pretty good player in college that, with injuries and stuff like that really just didn't turn out, I don't really count those. But hey, if he's on the list, he's on this list. I do apologize, but that's also pretty bad. Let's check who was also in this 1989 draft class. Let's see here. Sean Elliott, that's not bad. Tim Hardaway, not bad. Sean Kemp, ooh man, that's a ooh. Vlade Divac also was in this draft class. Oh man, they really passed up on a lot of guys. Nick Anderson, that's not a bad player as well. Definitely a lot of players they really missed out on. Anyone else that I'm missing? No, that's about it. Dino. I always see NBA 2K cards with Dino on there. But yeah, definitely a lot of players they missed out on being better players than Ellison. But number 7 on this list. Let's take a look here. Again, a player I've never heard of before. I'm obviously not going to really hear about a lot of these players if they're not sort of in my team sort of legacy or aren't sort of a part of the game somehow, some way still. But this person's name is Art Heyman. Right, M-A-N, yep. Art, sorry, I'm writing at an angle. I'm sitting right now at an angle, so sorry, that's kind of hard to see. Art Heyman was the first overall pick in 1963 to the New York Knicks. Yes, the Knicks are still making bad decisions till this day. Art is so crazy. I wonder how he went from scoring 15 points per game to then 5. I wonder if that's some like coaching thing. If he just ended up being, just like a worse player than what he actually was. That's actually pretty interesting. And now coming in at number 6, we also have a player that I really don't know. Actually, wait. You know what? I actually have heard this player before. I think I might have heard him on like an ESPN show before, but he definitely has a very long last name. So hopefully I'll be able to fit it on here. But it is Michael. Machael, right? Yep, A-E-L. Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, no, I'm kidding. It's Michael Olowokandi. Olowokandi, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Olowokandi. W-O-K. Then it's A-N-D-I. Yes. Michael Olowokandi was a player drafted by the LA Clippers. Yes, the good old Clippers. Still celebrated to this day for making bad decisions. Yes, the first overall pick. And guess what? 1998. Which you would think there'd be better players than a player you've never heard of before, but hey, I guess you don't really know until you do it. But in 10 NBA seasons, Olowokandi averaged double-digit in points, in a total of 5 seasons for his original team. He was actually picked up by the Boston Celtics later on in his career. But in the same draft class, there were players like Mike Bibby, Antoine Jamison, Vince Carter, Dirk Nowitzki, and Paul Pierce, who ended up getting picked before this number 1 overall pick. Wow. Man, I mean, Vince, Dirk, Paul Pierce, like those are like 3 like team-altering, changing picks, and you have Mike Bibby as well, Antoine Jamison. Like those are some pretty solid picks. And it looks like it doesn't seem like he had some injuries or anything. All it says here is that the Clippers had a lot of issues back in the day, and selecting Michael didn't help out the situation. So I don't know if it was due to some sort of injury or different things like that, but Michael did not have that great of a career, especially in a draft class so loaded with Dirk and Paul Pierce and Vince Carter. That's definitely probably maybe the best draft class we've talked about. And at number 5, who actually might be up higher on this list, I'm trying to think. You know what? On my own personal list, he would be higher, but I'm just doing it based off of this list that I'm looking at right now. But he would definitely be higher up on my list. At number 5, we have Kwame. Oh, dang, I don't have enough room. I'm just going to go Kwame B. Sorry, guys. It's Kwame Brown, guys. If you don't know who Kwame is, he's like Shaq, LeBron, Kobe, Kwame. That's all you need to say. Kwame Brown. That's a pretty tough one. If you didn't know, obviously Kwame Brown is being known for being an LA Laker, but he was drafted by the Washington Wizards back in 2001. Coming straight out of high school, talked about being the next sort of great player in the NBA. You saw, Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bryant, dominant players in the NBA coming into the league out of high school. They thought, hey, Kwame is going to be the next guy, and he tanked. Man. From what I remember, Kwame Brown didn't really have an injury-prone sort of career. It was just, he wasn't really that good. It says here he averaged 7.7 points per game and 5 rebounds. That's pretty bad. Before he was traded to the Lakers, and then joined many teams after that before his career closed out in Philadelphia. Wow. In 13 years, he averaged 6 points and 5 rebounds. That's pretty crazy. Also in that draft was Tyson Chandler, Pau Gasol, Joe Johnson, and Tony Parker. All players who, at least in my opinion, the Washington Wizards would definitely love to get back. Next up on this list is another player who I don't think I'm going to have really enough room to write their full name on. But we're going to find out. Number 4. Again, I'm sorry guys, these are a lot of players that I don't really know a lot about, so I can't really speak on them. hits a little bit too close to home because he is, or at least was, a Portland Trailblazer. And that is Laurel Martin. Laurel Martin. In 1972, they drafted Laurel Martin out of Loyola. Sorry, I mispronounced that weird. That's pretty bad. During his career, Martin was able to play in 271 games, but he only averaged 5 points per game at a number 1 overall draft pick. To make matters worse, Martin was drafted ahead of Bob McAdoo and Julius Erving. Oh my god. In 1976, he was traded to the Seattle Supersonics and then was cut before the season even started and retiring not too long after. Yes, I do know the story of Laurel Martin for Portland. Definitely terribly bad, but hey, Portland did win a title in 1977. We still got Bill Walton, one of the, in my opinion, if Bill Walton was, healthy his entire career, he would have been down as one of the greatest centers of all time, at least in my opinion, because in college, man, he was an absolute animal. He was an MVP. Bill Walton, I'm actually kind of glad that Laurel Martin happened, because without Laurel, there wouldn't be a Bill, and there wouldn't be a Portland banner, a legit Portland championship banner hanging up in the rafters. So thank you, Laurel, for sucking and giving us Bill Walton for a title. That's crazy. We could have had Bob McAdoo or Dr. J. Those are two just dominant players in NBA history. But you gotta give, you gotta take. But that one's pretty bad. I still think Gene is number 1. We now have number 2 on the list, and I don't agree with this one. For obvious reasons, you're gonna see why. Again, when I talk about players and injuries, I think it's so sad. It's not really a funny matter, or oh my god, this player just sucked, or wow, this was a washed pick, or a useless pick. And I will go to the grave with that argument when talking about Greg Oden. When talking about Greg Oden, I definitely do think that you obviously have to take into account at this point in time, the NBA was still very much into the big man game, and big men still ran the league. Back in the day, you could still run, 2 7-footers. Look back at the LA Lakers with Andrew Bynum and Pau Gasol, 2 7-footers, very, very skilled as well, running the paint. So the big men still ruled the NBA at that time. Kevin Durant was, back then known as just a good scorer. He was a really good scorer coming out of college. Greg Oden was a good scorer for a big man. Great defense, great rebounder, great hustle. He looked like the complete all-around big man. Who would not want that? You know what I mean? In my opinion, if Greg Oden never got hurt, Portland probably could have ran another title with Greg Oden, Brennan Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, and a squad around them. I saw a stat somewhere where I think when those 3 players all played together, Greg, LaMarcus, and Brennan Roy, I think they only lost 20 games together when they all played. So that really sucks. And again, without Greg, maybe we never would have gotten, Damian Lillard. A lot of other things maybe not would have happened in our sort of team's history. So you can't really say oh man, I wish this would have turned out because we would have known. Same thing with I wish we would have drafted Kevin Durant, because again, you never really know what's gonna happen. So does Greg Oden deserve to be on this list? I mean, yeah, if you want to take it into legit terms, yeah, sure, he's a bad number 1 pick because he only played barely 100 games in his entire career for Portland, and it turned out to be not a good pick. And plus, we also, passed up, Kevin Durant and also very great players who obviously would have been better picks. But hey, if Greg Oden, you can't tell me that if Greg Oden did not turn out, had no injuries, he wouldn't be a top big man. At least in the past, that sort of 2010s era of NBA basketball, you can't tell me that he would have not been a dominant player. Portland would have been on top the West for probably a pretty good amount of time. Obviously, you still had the Lakers and Denver back then, and a lot of other really great teams in the 2000s. Portland would have been up there a lot more than they were. So, big ups to Greg Oden. Let's see here. Number 1, we have sure a lot of you guys definitely think probably deserve to be on this list. And if I can be honest, in my opinion, he is the worst number one overall pick. Not because I think he's a bad basketball player. Again, he is a number one overall pick. He got there somehow. He was talented then. I'm not saying he's not anymore, but actually, maybe Gene is probably still the worst because he got banned from the NBA. But at number one, we got the absolute Canadian legend who actually tried his best but did not succeed, just like the song. That's Anthony Bennett. N-N-E-T-T-E-T-T. Anthony Bennett. I do say that Anthony Bennett is the worst number one overall pick of all time. Also because no injuries, had all the opportunity in the world, on a bad team. They actually gave him the ball a lot when he was picked, and ended up still getting nothing. No offense to Anthony Bennett. I know he played in the G League for a while, and I think he is playing or played overseas for a little bit too. I think he wasn't he the first player from Canada to get drafted? I think this was before Wiggins and all that stuff to be picked number one overall. It says here in 2013, Anthony Bennett was expected to go number one overall, but in a surprising move, the Cavaliers selected him. Bennett didn't start a game in his first season with Cleveland and didn't play, but he did play in 52. He averaged 4 points per game his rookie year, later on being traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves, where he averaged a astounding career high 5 points per game, yet he went up 1 point per game after getting traded. That's super crazy. And it's not like he's getting garbage minutes. He got 5 points per game in 15 minutes. That's a pretty good chunk of basketball if you're asking me. If you're asking, a bench player to play 15 minutes, getting 5 points, that's pretty bad for a number one overall pick. If you want to know some other players that were also in that draft class, let me look. Victor Oladipo, Otto Porter Jr., let's see, CJ McCollum, Steven Adams, Giannis, Dennis Schroeder, let's see who else. Tim Hardaway Jr. would have been a good pick. Rudy Gobert as well.